Finley. Nice job. So with my handsome little Mr. F, we're going to work a little bit with on gear. So again, he definitely loves these new snacks. So right here, Finley. Yes. So remember, we don't want to scold him for giving information. So a lot of times people are like, well, my dog is growling. Shouldn't I tell him he's being a bad dog right now? Remember that we don't want to get rid of warning signals when your dog is saying, I'm scared or overwhelmed. I'm not saying we want our dogs to go eat other dogs or children or inanimate objects or whatever it might be. But if, for example, your dog is not allowed to say, I'm overwhelmed or scared at the low end of the spectrum, which could be a grumble or, barking and lunging, if those behaviors are scolded away, and we don't get to the root cause as to why are they feeling that way in the first place, what we probably, oh my goodness, will end up doing is creating a zero dog, which is a dog that has been told at the low end of the spectrum, don't tell me when you're scared, because it's normally aggressive-like behaviors that are actually stemming from fear and anxiety and lack of information when it comes to socialization. Ready? So it can also be genetics as well that plays a big role in behavior too, about 20 to 40%. But when your babe is struggling, remember, he's not trying to give you a hard time. He's having a hard time. So if we were to scold the growl, he might then turn into a dog that gives no warning and goes right into a snap or even potentially right to a bite. So I'm not saying this is where we're at, but I want to make sure that when Mr. F is practicing, even though behavior seems overwhelming from our perspective, remember that behavior is communication. So if your dog is not able to communicate how they're feeling, how are we possibly going to help them through things they find difficult or overwhelming? So right here, my leash is still nice and relaxed. The gear is just there to keep him in my space because he was getting a little bit flustered going to the fence line. Ready? Right here? Yes. So I want Mr. F to start thinking the benefit is when you're near the wild and crazy snack lady. So right now, as we're practicing, we might also work a little bit with leash pressure. So leash pressure is not a leash correction. It is not a yank back as he's moving forward, because that's a really great way to get your puppy to ignore you because all we ever do is nag. But also it starts to create where there's always something happening on the gear and they start to get overwhelmed because it's always kind of doing that in the background. So what I mean by that is I want to set up my puppy. So again, I'll bring him a little closer. So he's in front of me. I might do a little pull and then feed for that. So I'm not swiffering him across the room. I should not be jostling him and scaring him. This is not the same thing as a leash pop or correction that you'll see some folks do where they're getting agitated that the dog doesn't understand something and then they pop them hard with the gear. That does not help your relationship. It doesn't help them better understand what you would rather have them do. It only scares them or suppresses behavior, which then again doesn't get at the root cause as to why is my dog doing it in the first place. So again, right here, we'll do a little pull and I feed him for that. A little pull and I feed him for that. So as he feels pressure, like right there, as he's pulling into it, what I would want Mr. F to do is when he feels the pressure is to come, yes, and check in. So notice I didn't pull back and keep yanking while he's going in the opposite direction from me. But when he feels the pressure on the leash, I want him to feel that when he feels tension, and that's okay, there's a crumb, so we can get that one. But right here, so there's tension, yes. So when he feels the pressure on the equipment, like right here, I want him to start thinking pressure equals come check in. If he doesn't respond, I would help him. So I'd say, Finley, yes, and help him come back into my space. So if this is difficult, again, you could also have your snack hand be right next to him. So whichever way makes sense to you guys. I sometimes rock both a little bit. So let's say he pulls right here. Yes. So I'm feeding him for every time he comes into the pressure and then when he does the U-turn towards me. So right here, yes. So he felt the pressure on the gear and was like, hold on, when there's pressure, I have to come check in for my paycheck. So this is not going to happen in the sense that you're walking and he's pulling and you pull back. He could be walking and all of a sudden there is tension. And then from there, nice. He starts to realize that when he comes to the end, it means come back and check in. We do still want to feed him for when Mr. F is next to your side. So you can also capture all of this wonderful, ready? Loose leash walking with him. Nice. Good job. But remember, if we're looking to gear to create behavior, the problem is then the gear is the only reason it may be happening. And you might be doing more micromanaging than actually teaching for what you want them to do. So think of, again, your leash and your harness as your training wheels. It kind of helps you from falling down instantly or making tons of big mistakes where anybody could get harmed by mistake, like you could fall. With the harness and leash, it keeps your dog from, if they don't know how to stay safe in the environment, keeps them nearby and out of danger's way. But my leash is not creating behavior. So just like the training wheels will not teach you how to ride your bicycle, someone still has to tell you how to turn, pedal, and steer. And of course, I already said turn, and stop. There we go. Brakes are also important. So with Mr. Handsome, Mr. F right now, you can see that he's really doing some beautiful engagement. And that's, again, because I'm making it worth his while to try these skills versus his previous skills. So this is really pretty. What a good job, sir. Yes. If you're unable to get this type of behavior from your handsome guy, it could be that what a lot of us will do is we'll have a very set up, very structured environment like classroom or, training moment where your gear is on, your pouch is on, and you're ready to work a few skills. I would highly recommend, he's like, I heard a funny noise in the building, is to make your training sessions the same even at home, while in your kitchen, while in your hall. And then eventually, as you're getting some really nice foundation behaviors out of him with your gear and your pouch, then transition that sort of exact same setup to more challenging environments outside of the home. So it could be your side yard versus your front yard. Maybe a few houses in your neighborhood in front of your home, where there's an option to escape if something got too exciting or too overwhelming. So that way Mr. Handsome over here, nice job, sir, can have an easier outing with the field trip, and then still be able to use his previous skills that he was working on in the classroom setting, which would be in the home or in this classroom as well. So nice loose leash walking. Yes. He's doing a very, very nice job. So remember, there is moments especially where you want to give him little breaks where you'd be going and doing sniffing, and you'd be doing some exploration, and you could also do some find it's, like in the grass is another great option where you find it. So that way your babe is building up some of his skills that no matter where the environment may be or what's in it, he can still feel safe offering the same behaviors and skill sets in many different bubbles. But remember to sometimes lower the criteria if your pup is struggling, but also gauge your environment. So the environment fuels behavior even more than most anything that your pup will be exposed to. So definitely gauging, is this a safe environment for him from his perspective, or is it too challenging? And if it's too challenging, then it normally means a lot of times he's going to fail and then do the behaviors that we either weren't a huge fan of, or get really good at rehearsing those skills and getting more finessed with them. So right here, we're going to give our handsome Mr. F a little breather. You want to do a little sit to end the day? Smart man. But he did it gorgeous again for now, day number 3 in his adventure here at Doggy Day School. So nice job, Finley.